Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Covered in gray and scarlet, massive, stiff arms to your jaw. We breaking it. We sick of seeing you clowns with the crown. We taking it. Number one flaws, you don't know ball. We taking advantage of that. Got you Karens asking where the manager at. With no cap, no time for the amateur rap. Look, man, we got dogs all over the depth chart. Monsters on the roster. Straighten up that posture. Rooting out you imposters. Silver bullets in the chamber. And a D-line full of danger. Step back with that linebacker trigger, when he pull it, it'll bang ya. Running backs running downhill. Touchdown on your IG reel. Better check the stats, buddy, it's straight facts over how you feel. Whenever I speak, I'm giving you more balls than German Village, Short North, and High Street. And you know, the average Joe can do nothing with my flow. It's a waste, somebody please give his brother an I.O. Come on.
I told y'all before, I need to feel y'all's energy. Stop sitting on y'all hands and get this place lit. Like I said, bring the energy.
Yeah, you know what time it is. I'm brawl with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lame. You know what time it is. I'm brawl with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lame. And it's Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the... Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? What's up, chat? Buck Vader, Stilly Matt, Lieutenant, I'm about to say Lieutenant Fringe, Lieutenant Dan, Ice Cream, Lunatic Fringe. What's up, everybody? Craig Bowman, all the usual, Studley, Budley, Tyler. Man, is it Caressley? Am I saying that right? Bugsy's daddy, man. I love that name. What's up, everybody? Hey, listen, y'all. Just a heads up, all right? I got Funky about to chime in a second. Funky's a little under the weather, you know what I'm saying? So he may not be as hyped up as usual. Might be a little more laid back, but he's here to rock with us today. What's up, Funky, man?
Yeah, what's up, B. Moses? Yeah, not feeling great today, but the show must go on. Thanks for tuning in. It's one of the first shows of March, and yeah, can't wait thanks for everyone watching. It's gonna be a pretty big show today, as we have a lot of great stuff to talk about, especially for a show again in early March.
Yes, sir. What's up, Sean Schrock? What's up, everybody? Lacey 777. Appreciate all of y'all. Yes, definitely a big show. Off season, man, when stuff happens, anything happens, is huge, because we don't have any games right now. So the coaches meeting the media for the first time was definitely interesting. We definitely wanted to touch on some things that we heard and, our first impressions about them. And then, of course, we're going to, briefly get you caught up on the whole Michigan scandal. Because, regardless of what some people say, it's still happening. It's still a thing. It's still in process. And so we're going to catch you up on that. Buckeye Scoop has been the forefront of, nailing this all the way through. And that will continue until everything is completely finished. I got a new championship shirt. Fanatics, listen, they probably bone dry now, but I got this for $9.99 at Fanatics. They had like a blowout clearance sale. I got the whole fam, my wife, 2 kids, some national championship shirts. I already had like 3 or 4 of them, but I was like, why not cop another one? So just to let y'all know, fanatics.com, they can pay me some royalties. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna hop into it, man. And I want y'all, as we go through, I want y'all to weigh in per usual, but there's going to be some interaction I want to be very direct about as far as y'all's opinion as we get to it. So definitely weigh in, when y'all get the chance. But anyway, so Funk, we wanted to start off by really getting into what's going on with the Michigan scandal, because again, number one, Buckeye Scoop has been all over this from the very beginning and will continue to be. Number two, there has been an update as far as the timeline and process. And then number 3, this has been going on for months, as NCAA, investigations do. That's another thing. People just think this is supposed to be over in a week. No, it sometimes takes years. And that's the thing I think people are missing. But we want to kind of update the people on the process and also some misunderstanding about a Buckeye Scoop tweet that was like a countdown until March 6th. You want to kind of get into that a little bit as we kick it off?
Yeah, well, the newest update is Michigan officially responded, or sorry, the NCAA officially responded to Michigan's response to the NOA, which is, I mean, it's funny that we even like need to talk about that, but that's just the process. It's a process, and it's a process that takes, I mean, a lot of time. The NCAA had, what was it, 6 days to respond to Michigan's response, and then Michigan had like 90 days to respond to the original NOA. Uh, but now, I mean, all that stuff is behind us, and now we're on to the next period of like timeline or the next column of work that NCAA has to do, and that all involves the Committee of Infractions. So that's gigantic news, as this is really coming, or I would like to say coming to an end, but in reality, that's not fully true either. We still probably have another 10 months of this until it's way, way, way behind us. Uh, I'm not sure if y'all remember, but I remember it broke that Louisville was going to have to take away their 2013 basketball national championship. But they didn't take down the banners yet. They didn't do any of that stuff yet until about 10 months later, once it officially ended and the NCAA denied their appeals. Then it was a big deal, and all the videos of them taking down their banner and all those final interviews and people complaining, or what I remember there being a lot of outcry. I think that was 2018, if I remember correctly. Uh, so right now we're going into that period where in about 60 to 90 days we'll know what's going to happen. Like, it'll be public information. This won't be uh, any secret information. It'll be very public, and the mainstream media will pick up on it. The big ESPN shows will pick up on it, and it'll be out there for the world. But that won't mark the official end of the investigation, as then that'll just go into the appeal process. So uh, what's going to happen is there's going to be a strict punishment, and then for 10 straight months they're going to be like, oh well, we're just going to appeal it and it's going to be all good and all that stuff. But appeals, especially when it involves level 1 infractions, never work. Like never ever work. And the appeals that have worked were for like a little bit lower infractions, and they no none of the like they didn't totally change the punishment. It was always just like, oh, they nicked it a little bit to award stuff for good cooperation, or they figured out some new stuff that gave some innocence or other stuff, but nothing involving, I mean, actually affecting the outcome of games. So, I mean, a big step in the process. It's just a timely step. So
Yeah.
it was going to happen no matter what. I mean, the deadline was March 6th or March 7th, I believe. And then NCAA, I can confirm they responded at the latest March 6th. I actually think they might have responded actually a few days earlier than that. But we all see when they update the dashboard, which could be literally any day now. I mean, I found myself checking it periodically just to make sure it hasn't updated yet. Uh, but that'll give us a lot of good information. And also, I heard that a party has already settled and has already, or not just settled, but they've already been handed down their punishment. Or
Yep.
then NCAA already punished a certain party into it. I'm not fully sure who that is. If I had to guess, though, I would guess it would be that CMU head coach, because his
Michael
timeline
Wayne.
matches up pretty well. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes
but
sense.
he already retired, so people are gonna be like, oh, why are you giving a show cause to a retired guy and whatever. But I mean, but that's important though, because that kind of sets the tone for everything else.
Yep. Great breakdown, man. Very thorough breakdown to give people a better understanding. But I wanted to touch on a few things about that. So, first and foremost, I wanted to just point and laugh at you clowns on X who are saying, "Oh, I thought Buckeye Scoop said the hammer was supposed to drop today. See, you frauds." You're a moron. That's never what Buckeye Scoop said. Buckeye Scoop never said that. They never said that. So you saw the countdown, you made an assumption, or you heard somebody else's assumption and assumed that's what it was. That was not the case. The countdown was the last day, the deadline for the NCAA to respond to Michigan. That's what it was for. So now we move on to the next step of the process. Like Funky said, 60 to 90 days, there can be a response. Because here's the thing. Funky's correct about the 10 11 month timeline as far as all of this finally being like finalized to like the last particle. But to me, I don't care about that because, like Funky said, like all these level 1 violations, the chances of them getting the appeal to go through, and remember, the appeal is not with some third party. The appeal is with the NCAA, who already has done a thorough investigation and said from day one, back in was it November of 23, that they had uncontroverted evidence. They had the evidence from day one. They've only just piled on top of the evidence with more stuff, like Connor Staggs at Central Michigan, and staff coming and giving their testimony and spilling the beans. They've got evidence on top of evidence. So they have to appeal with that same judge and jury who already said you're guilty. So let's keep that in mind. I don't care about that appeal process. What I care about is when it actually comes down, the actual sanctions. Here's your punishment. Because like Funky said, that's when we can all basically dive in and say, we told you so. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's off rip. And like y'all cheated. You try to act like it was a nothing burger. This was the worst cheating scandal in college football history. The NCAA talked about the integrity of the game and the Big Ten from day one, and on so forth and so on. So that is coming sooner than later. All that, this is an overreach, and the NCAA is being too harsh. All they can whine, all the other stuff. I don't care. Just hand me those sanctions so we can, talk about it, and also the media so they can dive into it. One other thing I wanted to say, and Justin Spiro, shout out to Justin Spiro. We've had him on this show, and Kirk and Nevada have had him on a few times. Michigan State guy, but great information, and friend of the scoop. Him and Valenti from 97.1. I forget the radio station in Michigan, but anyway, Michigan State guy. They have both talked about and reminded Scum fans of how outraged and oh my God, this was the worst thing ever back in Tatgate. Tattoos in exchange for memorabilia. You would have thought it was the worst scandal ever. They wanted death penalty. They wanted, our coach got fired over something like that will be laughed out of the room right now with NIL. Spiro has brought up the receipts of Michigan fans just tweeting stuff out, talking about or leaving whatever comments on social media about how awful and how much of cheaters we were. And so now you got this, and you mean to tell me this is going to be nothing and you don't deserve worse? Yeah, bro, I cannot wait. So yeah, Funky, we definitely wanted to give y'all a breakdown of where we are in the process, the timeline, what's expected. And don't be fazed by the amount of time that this has taken, because this is par for the course. Go look at the other investigations from Kentucky to who else has got cracked recently. We mentioned Louisville, but
Missouri,
Herm Edwards, where was he at? Arizona State,
Arizona State, right? Yeah.
Even Cheeseburger Gate was a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? So this takes time, but this particular case, this right here, is the worst. Again, there's not been a scandal I can ever remember since I've been alive where the NCAA came out and said Michigan State and every opponent that has them coming up on your schedule, you don't have to play them if you don't want to. Never. So anyway, I'll stop there. Yeah. You want to jump in?
Oh, I want to add something about just how bad the NCAA's for sure got them. If you just look at the dashboard, if you want to see how many separate parts there are to this case, you can see if you go down to the negotiated resolutions, you can see a party had they finalized their negotiated resolution on the 12th of December 12th. So that was probably the CMU coach, if I had to guess. But then if you go to the full hearing, you can see that there was an NOA response on the January 6th. There was an NOA response by another separate individual party on the same day, January 6th. So that's 3 parties we're keeping track. And then there was a final NOA response by an individual party in the thing on the 2nd of February. Sorry, the 12th of February. So that's 4 different separate parties that are all involved in this. And it was already stated prior that the Jim Harbaugh case is going to be completely separate. So you can almost guarantee that there's going to be 4 or 5 separate punishments handed out at, or I mean, maybe 4 or 5 different times throughout this next 60 to 90 days. And that's just according to the dashboard. And then they do a pretty good job at going time by time. And you guys can read it for yourself as well. It's, they wouldn't just put individual response if it wasn't that important. Right. The February one, I would probably bet you that that's probably the Stallions, probably Stallions' response, or it could be Harbaugh's as well. But I mean, it just shows how deep it really went and how bad this is really going to be. Because the NCAA has they got them, and it's very well documented. And this is why it's taking so long. It's because there's a lot of documentation that needs to be had. They have to follow the direct rules. People are talking about how long it takes, but if you really compare it to other scandals that are half as big, it's running 50% faster than pretty much any scandal has before. I mean, you can look at the dashboard. Usually, a normal investigation on the dashboard is probably about 350 days. It takes about a year to finalize investigation. The Michigan one is 250 days. The charging, it took 51 days for Michigan. If you look at the dashboard, the shortest one left on the dashboard, 70 days for UCLA. The average is probably 130. So it's about 3 times as fast charging than anything or anyone has happened. You can look at the CO, the review and decision. That's still happening for Michigan, so that's there. But the party submissions and scheduling, it took 189 days for Michigan, and that's still well below the average one on the average is probably around 200 for that. You see some 300s, some 250s, some 220s. So I mean, this in comparison has been in a hyper speed compared to a bunch of different other scandals going on right now. That shows the seriousness of it, and they're really wanting to. But they still have to go by the book. So that's why it's gonna take as long as it does, because they're gonna get it right, and they want to. I mean, they know what's on the line, and if they speed it up, that can come down and bite them, and Michigan get it off scot-free. So,
absolutely, yeah, brother, great job once again, man, breaking this down. Because again, there's still confusion, and people don't understand, and they don't follow as close as we do. But yes, all of that is true, and again, they have to make sure they follow the NCAA. The only chance, and this is not going to happen. But Michigan keeps talking about they're going to sue. They're going to take this to court and bleed the NCAA out. Listen, every NCAA university has agreed to the bylaws. Okay. The only chance Michigan has to get something to happen in court is if the NCAA, basically takes a shortcut or doesn't follow their own bylaws. And they have to allow them to, okay, you want an extension? Sure. Here's your extension. They asked for it. They granted it to them. Whatever. They're going to do everything by the book. They're not going to give Michigan any wiggle room to try to say, you skirted the rules here. No, they're dead to rights. And furthermore, back to Spiro. Spiro hasn't been as adamant as Buckeye Scoop has as far as the punishments and sanctions and whatnot. But recently, he has been a little more adamant based on, let me put it this way, because he's cryptic sometimes on Twitter, but I know sometimes being cryptic can be annoying, in general, but with his track record of being right about this situation all the way through, I'll take the cryptic, because when he says he got something, he has something. And he's been teasing forfeited wins. Now, I'm not speaking for him, but go look at his Twitter. And the cryptic nature says forfeited, not vacated. That's a whole nother, dude. If that happens, Funky, bro, that just takes me to a whole nother level.
Well, that would be that would be something else.
I can't even tell you how crazy I would be.
Yeah, I don't I want to say I don't think that's gonna happen. Just
Maybe
or who
not,
knows?
and that's
Yeah,
cool. Right, right,
yeah,
right,
and
right.
that would be cool too.
I'm not trying to
Yeah.
get y'all's hopes up. I'm just telling you what Spiro's saying.
Well,
And
he
when
is saying
Spiro
it.
put,
Yeah.
well, I'm sorry, he's not saying forfeited, but his cryptic tweets are very clear that that's what it's implying.
Oh no,
And if
that's
that,
what he thinks. He thinks that.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's
Mhm.
what he thinks. So, but with that said, he's also stepped up his adamancy about, the evidence. He's always thought they were guilty, but the more intel he's gotten is just getting even more and more up there to where what Scoop has had as far as, the NCAA having them. He's been very adamant about the NCAA having them dead to rights, and they have evidence they cheated, like no doubt. And I say that to say is that not only do you have Scoop, and then you also have had the 11 Warriors guys. Respect to them, they've been on it as well. But Spiro and his great sources, who's also been right the whole time, is now also it's just more confirmation. And I say that to say because Michigan people, their fans and their beat writers, even Chris Ballas recently is still pushing out this they don't have enough evidence narrative. They don't have enough evidence. Like, dude, they got evidence. You just don't agree with the evidence because you're a cheater and you want to try to skirt, like not get clapped with the hammer. So anyway, so I'll kind of wrap it up from my standpoint is that nothing has changed. Buckeye Scoop has been on this from the very beginning. Nevada, Kirk, myself, Funky have been telling y'all what's going to happen. Nothing's changed. The process is continuing. We're getting closer and closer. And I cannot wait because, again, no fan base and institution deserves this more than Scum. Not just because they're our rival and we hate them, but because of who they are, their arrogance, their delusion, their just everything they are. And the way they handled the situation, they could have possibly gotten a lesser hammer. But now, because of the bet and because of the arrogance and because of the pushback, and we're going to take you to court and whatever, now they really going to get clapped up. Cheeks clapped on another level. And I'm here for it. So anyway, anything else to say about this before we move on?
Well, yeah, sorry. I have to laugh about the lack of evidence thing.
Right.
Let me just pull up some the actual quote from the NCAA or the Big Ten in November of 2023. Sorry, I'm trying to find it so I can actually directly quote it. Whatever, or whatever. I'm having trouble finding the exact quote, but in the letter sent to Michigan from the Big Ten, they directly have said that, here, as described below, the existence of the impermissible scheme is proven, while other investigatory bodies continue to develop additional evidence of the scope, extent, and individual knowledge of the scheme that may advise additional or enhanced penalties in the future. Taking immediate action is appropriate and necessary. So, there's enough evidence. It's not even real. That's just
and that was back when it first dropped.
Yeah,
that's
that
not
was
even including Central
over
Michigan.
a year ago.
And,
yeah, that was
and the
over a
other
year ago.
stuff. Yeah, like what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
And real quick, Dennis Moore, Jabba Manuel, that's funny, isn't on the CFP any longer. Perhaps we have a chance for Vacay 90. Let me clear that up. I don't care. Even if he was on there, even when they make decisions about, who's making the playoffs, like when the person in question school is up to be discussed, they recuse him. They step out of the room. When Gene Smith was there, he had to step out of the room when they talked about Ohio State. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And they so just let me touch on this, and I'll get to Ryan Day's championship beards super chat. Thanks for the 5, brother. If you lose your championship, do they come and take your trophy? I'm not sure on how that works. So I'm going to kind of address that in this, what I was currently talking about, and then we can move on to the next topic. But yeah, so just to remind people, this is the path of getting the natty vacated. Okay, because Michigan fans, first of all, like to throw out the Charlie Baker quote where he said they throw the quote out of context where he was in an interview talking to, I forget who he was talking to. He was specifically saying in the field of play in the playoffs, because they already were busted for cheating, that, on the field right now, they don't feel like, that it was, I forget the wording, but basically he was speaking about the games being played at that moment in the playoff. There were no Connor Stallions wasn't there. So in his mind, he's thinking, oh, this is not tainted. This is actual straight up, non-cheating, whatever. That was the context of his comments. He was not saying the natty would not be vacated. That's not what he said. Way out of context. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick. But also the pathway to the natty being vacated, because we understand the NCAA is not the CFP and the NCAA is not the Big Ten. However, the pathway is for the NCAA to come out based on the evidence to say, we don't recognize any of this garbage because they cheated. We don't recognize these wins. They got to go. We don't recognize the Big Ten championships. We don't recognize the CFP trophy. Okay. That's the verbiage. Then the Big Ten, Tony Petitti, who's already, I'm sure, pissed at Scum and how they, finger wagged and thumbed their nose at him and threatened to sue him and all the other stuff, that he's going to be ready to go to pull the trigger to take away those Big Ten championships. And then, of course, the CFP committee, who's made up of ex-coaches, ADs, school officials, probably some of those schools that were cheated by Michigan, would then, be in a situation like, okay, the NCAA doesn't recognize these wins. They've shown the evidence that they've cheated. The Big Ten Conference is taking away their banners. So then next in line, we need to follow suit, because why would we allow cheaters to keep a trophy that they cheated to win? Because let's just say they didn't cheat in the playoffs, because there's still no evidence of that yet, because Connor Stallions gave a player all the database stuff. Go look at the NOA. He delivered all that information to another player. So who's to say they still didn't have intel? But that aside, regardless, you were cheating all the way up until you got busted before the Michigan State game. So those games don't count because you cheated. So how can you be a true CFP champion if you cheated during the season and 2 years before that? They got to go, bro. So that's the pathway. So the Michigan trying to hide behind, well, the NCAA can't. No, they can, because these entities will work with the NCAA and recognize the NCAA's rulings and take that away. That is the pathway. Okay. So just letting y'all know, explain it to y'all how this works. And real quick, Funky, before I pass you the mic, I don't know. I have no idea. They send some people into the facility and to Schembechler Hall with white gloves and shades and earpieces and say, give me that trophy. I have no idea. Do you know, Funky?
It's can't be displayed. I think that's the rule. I think Kirk said that our Sugar Bowl trophy is in like a closet, but I'm not sure if he was kidding. But I just know he said it like it can't be displayed. But that's a quote from Kirk on the show, or just from picking it up. And one thing I have to add or talk about that is before was it the Sugar Bowl versus in that year
Arkansas.
That got big? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And it was the Sugar Bowl. Okay.
Yep.
And our players got. I mean, I was I was alive for this, but not like I wasn't. I didn't really know it was happening. To be serious with you, this is just from me here from what I'm hearing. Our players went to the NCAA and asked if they could play in the game. That's correct, right? Like they got cleared to play in the game, even in the mix of the scandal.
Yeah. I don't know. I've heard different things. I'm not 100% sure if the players approached or if it was the school officials, or I don't know. It was the Big Ten because of the, whatever. I don't know. But the NCAA did approve them to play in that game.
Yeah, they approved the play in that game, and then they vacated them for playing in that game. So, like, to me, it doesn't like. There's whatever they say beforehand. It doesn't mean anything until a punishment. The punishment will speak louder than any other actions or words spoken prior, because that's more blatant than anything that's happened so far. It's just I mean, you can get my point right there, right? Like I'm coming across there. Yeah,
no doubt, man. So but yeah, update. We are here for it. We will always be here for it. And it's going to be a glorious day when it's final. And so we will move on. We're going to go ahead and start talking about the coaches. I really enjoyed the interviews. First time seeing Matt Patricia rocking Ohio State gear, talking to our goofy media. Also, your boy, the quarterback's coach. Why did his name escape me that
Billy
quick?
Fessler.
Billy Fessler. It was good to see. We've heard so many great things about him. Will Howard at the NFL Combine just gushing about him. And so it was good to hear him. And then, of course, Tyler Bowen. He was impressive. Like, I'm an interview guy. Shout out to Dev and the Buckeye Boys, by the way. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, BOYZ. They go live at 5 o'clock every Sunday before us. And then, of course, Kirk and Nevada at 7. But we call ourselves jokingly the press conference boys because we're ones that watched all the press conferences. And I know people don't think they matter, but I get little nuggets out of them. But anyway, it was good to hear them talk and kind of answer questions and give their philosophy and also share some of their personality. But let's start with Matt Patricia, man, because it's funny, man. You know how people can come out and just have an opinion and be so adamant about it. It just kind of shows you how fickle we are, Funky. And I'm explaining
Mhm.
why. Is that, there were so many people hating on Matt Patricia getting hired. And then they saw him in the interview so energized and, talking positive about Ohio State, and he's lost weight and he's smiling and vibing. And it's just like, I've seen multiple comments like, you know what? He's growing on me. You know what? This might be all right. Like off a 10-minute video clip. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just fickle. And it's just funny, man. People are going to be people. I get it. But I'm super excited about Matt Patricia like I was from the beginning. Because again, I know what this dude brings. His mind and his experience as a D coordinator, as a defensive mind, being trusted by Bill Belichick to dial stuff up, whatever. I mean, and then on top of that, you heard James Laurinaitis and the other defensive coaches speak their excitement as well. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I don't think it's fake. I don't think it's coach speak. Oh, let's play nice for the media. I really believe they're excited about Matt Patricia and what he brings. And so, excuse me, I just wanted to bring that out first with Patricia, man, because to me, it's just I'm just even more excited now after seeing all these interviews. What you think, bro?
Yeah, I mean, he said all the buzzwords. He did everything that I know fans like to hear, even though to me it doesn't mean much. Just by but he was talking about like, oh, I can't wait to get out recruiting. I can't wait to talk to all these kids. I'm just getting that going. Like I remember he's like talking about like how he loved recruiting back in the day, and he's excited to do it again in this new era. Even though, I mean, to be serious with you, I don't believe him at all. Like, I think he's here for football. I don't think he wants to be talking to these 16-year-old kids and uh, stuff or whatever. But he sounded really excited about it. So I mean, obviously, if you're a better recruiter, your fans are going to like you more. I mean, you saw Justin Fry. He was, I mean, statistically probably a top 10 offensive line coach in the whole entire NCAA last year. I mean, as in he got promoted to the NFL. So
Right.
you have to be at the top of the top to get promoted to the highest football league in the world. So you get paid multi-million-dollar deal to go to the NFL. But the fans hated him because he didn't recruit well. So I think recruiting is going to give you a lot of love with the fans. So I think him talking about that in a very energetic way was very positive. And you're right. And the fact that he seems like he has a bunch of energy, and the fact that he lost a lot of weight probably sits well with a lot of people, because those are just some stuff in life that people just like,
Perception and
perception. They get, so people probably perceive him now as more of like a guy who's ready to get after it instead of a guy who's washed and bummy and dumb and stuff. And it just, we got to set this straight though. No matter what happens this year, I can guarantee you that he's going to get crapped on this year. I would bet almost anything that we're not going to be at week 5 or 6 of the season, and we're going to talk about, how happy everyone is with Matt Patricia. No, because there's going to be a lot of sloppiness because we're replacing like 8 or 9 starters or whatever the heck. So he's going to get crapped on literally no matter what. No matter if he's like Jim Knowles times 10 or whoever, or Nick Saban. There's not going to be anything we can do to have as good of a defense as we had last year, especially within the first couple weeks, especially when we have to play Texas week 1. Yep. Like if we go out versus Texas week 1 and our defense looks lights out, I mean, if to say I'd be shocked would be an understatement. I would be like flabbergasted. Like I expect that game to be. I mean, just seriously, I expect the game to be a little sloppy, a little. I mean, clearly it's week one. We saw what we did versus Akron last year. With like we didn't look awfully super impressive off the jump, you know.
Right.
So and I imagine that, but you're replacing a bunch of guys with a new defensive coordinator, and not just replacing guys with a bunch of guys who are like seniors. A lot of the guys that are going to get playing time next year are going to be sophomores, juniors, so a little younger. And clearly, we still have that top end talent. I mean, with Caleb Downs and Edric Houston and Iggy, and or we're still gonna be. Don't get me wrong, we're still gonna be very elite. But I just don't think there's gonna be anything Matt Patricia can do or say or recruit that's gonna make the fan base love him from the jump. Uh, and unless we go out and win 12 games in a row and win the national championship again, you know.
Yeah. Nah, listen, it's gonna be tricky. I mean, here's the thing. I see this from two ways. Matt Patricia has all. I mean, he literally has what is it? March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Well, it's August 30th. So he has like 6 months to plan for Sarkeesian and scheme and get these guys ready. So that's kind of the flip side to it, because it's one thing preparing just for your season opener against Akron, right? And it's like, okay, I'm not saying you don't want to get your guys ready, like, but it's Texas. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's a little more juice involved with that. And then, of course, Matt Patricia, being a competitor that he is, coming from the NFL, the opportunity to make a first impression is there. And so it's going to be interesting to see how we look, because you're right. It's not fair to expect the 2024 defense to show up week one against Texas, just not missing a beat, nothing. But I do think he'll be motivated to come out and have a good, display, a good scheme, a good presentation against Texas, man. It's going to be a tough game regardless, but these idiots out here are going to make, see, he sucks if we lose to
No,
Texas.
exactly. Yeah, that's
Right.
gonna happen no matter what. Even if we win, but we win
Right.
31-27.
Right, exactly. You gave up 27 points. Bro, it's Texas, and we have 8 new starters. Like, chill. You're correct. People are going to, it doesn't matter. You are absolutely 1000% correct about that. But on the flip side, like I said, I am excited to see what he cooks up. He has a lot of time to watch film.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a showcase. And one thing I also do have to add is, I mean, Texas is replacing 4 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Maybe even I can't even confirm that's just 4. I can just confirm that they got 4 offensive linemen invited to the NFL Combine. So they're replacing 4 NFL players on the offensive line. So
yeah.
they're going to be Sorry,
no, you're good. No, to your point, they've got some guys that they've lost as well. So it's to me, that's what's so interesting about this, is that they have talent. So this is going to be a tough game. They have a lot of talent, but they've also lost a lot, and we've lost a lot. We're breaking in a new quarterback who hasn't really played in meaningful moments. Their quarterback has played some in meaningful moments. So they have the advantage there from a quarterback standpoint, but he has to come to the shoe week 1.
He has to come to the shoe. Yeah, that's a big difference.
Hopefully, please, Lord Jesus, at night and not big noon, please. But that's a whole nother podcast. That deserves to be a night game. I'm trying to go to that Texas game regardless, but if it's a night game, I'm absolutely going to that game. But anyway. So yeah. So Matt Patricia, excited. I want to get to Larry Johnson comments, but I was gonna say with Tyler Bowen, I like his presence. I like his how can I put it? He doesn't seem like a rah-rah guy, but he seems like when he walks into a room and sits down with a family, he commands the room. He has a presence about him. Also, his resume speaks for itself as far as what he's done. A play caller, respected as an O-line coach, respected as a recruiter. You know what I'm saying? Like he brings a presence. I enjoyed hearing what he had to say as well. So what's your thoughts on Tyler Bowen? Because I know that's another big one that people are like really looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Tyler Bowen hiring originally because I think he's kind of the perfect mix for this Brian Hartline offense. Yeah. It's like I feel like he brings a lot of stuff that his running game whoa, his the aspects of his running game, whatever. Sorry, I'm a little bit losing my thought here, but the way he ran the ball at Virginia Tech was very similar to how Trip Kelly ran the ball at UCLA. Their run game schemes seemed very similar, and I think they'll be very good fit for Brian Hartline, where his weaknesses are run game schemes involving the run game and doing all that stuff because he was a wide receiver. He likes getting his wide receivers the ball. He was he was in charge of third down passing downs last year, so he clearly the passing scheme is going to be more than fine. It's going to be, actually, I would say if we don't have the best passing offense in the league next year, I'm not saying statistically either, I just mean straight up best passing offense, I'll be shocked because we have Julian Sayin, JJ Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Innes with a pass first offense. So, yeah. And Julian Sayin is the truth, by the way. I have zero doubts. If he's not like if he's not a finalist for the Heisman, I'd be shocked. Absolutely, absolutely shocked. Because Will Howard should have been, if we're being real, if he didn't have that mishap at that November 30th, that too. Yeah, he would have 100% been in the New York City. And if you're doing the Heisman ceremony after the national championship, he would have been invited anyways. So it just maybe took him a little bit longer, But Julian Sain's going to be, so good. But yeah, but I think that Tyler Bowen, and he's clearly a very smart man, and I love the way that he checked all the boxes as well. They're all just checking the boxes, and it made me feel really good as a fan watching them. It was, just a lot of positives, and I think, we brought in a lot of coaches this year, a lot of coaches with a lot of experience. If that's on the D line, those sorry, I'm not sure how I should refer to them. They're not GAs, but they're quality control analysts, quality control coaches, and they can all actually coach. And they're former good, really good sought after coaches. These coaches are probably gonna get jobs in the Power Five next year. They just probably need a little bump in their resume right now, and just a little. You know how it works. Mike Vrabel was taking analyst roles with Wisconsin last year, and now he's a head coach in the NFL. So that just stuff happens all the time in coaching, and it should be very interesting. I also really liked the way, in general, or we can talk. Do you want to talk about Larry Johnson?
Yeah, we'll get we'll get to Larry Johnson. But if you finish your thought though, if you have more to say, we're gonna get to him.
No, I just really enjoyed the way these coaches were talking, and it really it made it I have a sense of readiness almost coming from the guys.
Yeah.
From Carlos Loughlin to to Matt Patricia to Billy Fessler. It just seems like there's a bunch of good stuff happening, and everything we're hearing from the Woody is good stuff. And you see these, and one thing I really like, these freshmen are ready, bro. I'm gonna butcher his name. Is it Brody Miller? That wide receiver quarterback out of Ohio.
Is it Boding?
Boding. Or no, it's Boding. You're right. Yeah. Him, he's trying to make an impact right away. And those freshmen kind of set the tone for everyone else because you see, Devin Sanchez put up 20 pounds over the winter already. Miller put up 20 pounds in the winter already. So I can assure you that these other freshmen are working their asses off. And I probably should say that. And Tavian St. Clair is, he's a true leader, and he thinks he can win the job.
Great.
Which is great. Yeah, I'm not saying he's gonna win. I don't think he will, but he thinks he can, and his leadership is he's more than ready to lead a team as a true freshman, which is insane to me. From what I've been hearing from the Woody and from other players, he's a natural leader. They're saying he's president. They're giving a nickname President Claire. So he just has that presence.
Well. He does, and thank you, Matt. I'm sorry, Dev. I just Googled it and then came back and saw your comment. It's Bodping. I think it's pronounced Bodping Miller. I don't know, but I want to make sure I get that right going forward. But yes, he put on 20 pounds. He's the kid to y'all. So that y'all know, I believe. Let me go back and see what his height is. Yeah, he's the kid who from Ohio, 6'4", and he was a little light in the butt, but tall, long guy. I mean, he tore it up in camp. I mean, he earned himself an offer. He was killing it. Speed with that height, and then he put on 20 more pounds. That's a guy that you want to look out for, maybe to even help out on special teams and emerge as a playmaker little by little. But he's one of those freaky athletes. You just keep adding weight and muscle and speed to him. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, to your point, Funk, this coaching staff is very impressive. And the cherry on top of it is that Ryan Day, the energy and he's refreshed and confident. It's like, he was handed, like a battery in his back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he came out of this championship run glowing and even more confident. Like, he's just unfazed. Like, he's ready to go to the next level, man. That's dope. You can't just assume that with every man, because he went through some stuff. And I know, y'all, he's a millionaire and all that other stuff. I get it. But he still went through some stuff. It doesn't matter. He went through the fire and he's coming out pure gold. That's scripture. Go look that up. But anyway, I'm excited about this staff and the potential and the hunger for them to want to run it back, man, and not being satisfied with just one ship. That's a beautiful thing. And so, but yeah, you mentioned Lachlan. Still love Lachlan as a hire, man. That's just I love hearing him talk and just give his thoughts and opinion. And he's just one of them dudes, man. It's just like get you fired up to want to play. So yeah, but let's definitely get to Larry Johnson, because to me, next to Matt Patricia, he was the most interesting interview that I saw, and I clipped it. I put it on X and my platforms as well. And I wanted to put it out there for maybe a little bit of debate, because I know everybody doesn't agree, whatever. But this is the most worked up I've seen Larry Johnson in an interview. Larry Johnson is very laid back. He's very soft-spoken, not in a timid way, but he's just a soft-spoken dude. He's just very even keeled. And so Doug Maurice asked him the question, the elephant in the room question about this so-called beef with him and Jim Knowles. And so, he didn't just respond and say, no beef in the next question. He was adamant. Like, go watch their interview. Like, I'm not saying he was pounding the table like, I hate y'all, but you could tell that he was, in my opinion, my interpretation as a press conference boy who watches this stuff, that he was a little irritated. It was something that was bubbling. And he was very adamant that, number one, he felt he was being misrepresented. He used the word lies several times, excuse me. And, and then Doug Maurice actually asked a good follow-up question. He said, why do you think we think that? And he goes into saying, because you saw, Jim Knowles come here with the 3-4 scheme, and you thought he was going to bring that here. And then he also explained how, you can be multiple and you can flip into a 3-4 look, before the ball snap, depending on the personnel, and be multiple and stuff like that. But basically, Larry Johnson adamantly denied that there was any beef between him and Jim Knowles. I'll say this. I agree. I don't think he's lying that there was no real beef. And this is what I mean by this. People think disagreeing with another coach is some big Kendrick and Drake beef going on in the facility. Like the media, like some of the media tried to make it seem like. And I do think there were some disagreements, probably, most likely, but maybe blown out of proportion by the media. And I think that's what Larry Johnson was pushing back against, was this notion that it was just, they were just at odds and it's always them beefing. And I don't think that was the case. So I wanted the chat. Obviously, Funky's going to weigh in, but I wanted the chat to, leave your comments, man, because like I said, I've never seen Larry that fired up, man, for Larry. So, but he was pretty adamant, man, like, stop the lies. He said, I don't chase lies. I don't know, man. It was interesting. What you think, Funky?
Yeah, no, I think you actually said that perfectly, because I was trying to make my opinion on it, and I was just kind of like, yeah, I don't think they hate each other. I mean, you rarely see, you don't rarely see coaches hate each other, but it's just not as professional, like you just wouldn't expect it. So I mean, we didn't hear any of that either. We didn't hear I'm sure Larry Johnson is I would say he's wishing Jim Knowles the best, but that's absolutely not true. He's definitely wishing Jim Knowles to fail at Penn State. But if Jim Knowles would have gone somewhere else or gotten a head coach job at Duke or whatever the heck, then I'm sure they would have been wishing him good luck, but definitely not at that team, that
Right.
team in Pennsylvania.
Right.
So, but I mean, I think you nailed it perfectly. I don't think there was real Kendrick beef, but it was more just disagreements on scheme, who should be playing, how their defensive end should be rushing. And I really don't blame Larry Johnson that much because how do you recruit the defensive end position if all your DNs are going to do is cage rush and play the run? Like, defensive ends don't want to play the run. That's just the facts. That's just the reality.
Right.
I mean, it's just they want to rush the passer. It's just like linemen want to run block. Like linemen, they want to run. They want to push through whatever. You guys, Kirk says you ask the right guard what he wants to do every play. It's run the ball. So,
Right.
trying to recruit defensive ends when all your film is like cage rushing, and clearly that was shown by the lack of production for the first. I'm not gonna say for the full 4 years of JTT and Jack Sawyer, but it was shown by the first, or it was pretty much 4 years until the playoffs, and then all of a sudden they got like 6 sacks in 2 games. I'm not even sure what happened there. To be honest with you, like that will never make sense to me. How they had such of a lack of production pass rush wise and getting to the quarterback, where maybe they seem like they're just 0.1 seconds off 10 times throughout the season,
Yeah.
but all of a sudden in the playoffs they are 0.1 seconds fast and their production in the playoffs from Caden Curry, the Kenyatta Jackson, clearly Jack Sawyer, JTT, Tyler Williams. We had 11 sacks versus Oregon. Like that's more than we had.
Yes.
Like that was more than we had. Like the whole. No, wait, was it 11? Maybe I totally made that
or
up.
8?
But
Was it 8?
it was something absurd. It's something where I was like, "What the heck?" It was. It was ridiculous. Wait, let's look this up before I keep
I'm looking it
yapping.
up right now. Go ahead. Keep
Yeah.
going. I'm looking
But
it up.
just I think that Larry Johnson wants to be a little more aggressive from the D end, and I think he was put in a tough position because he kind of felt like he was kind of being spited because we weren't getting pressure and we weren't. We were having fine seasons, but we weren't winning. We didn't really win anything, if we're being real, in those 3 years in a row. We lost 2 games and we won the Rose Bowl. That was cool, I guess. Then we lost to Georgia barely. Then we didn't beat Michigan in the 2023. And then we lost to Oregon in the big game. And I think that definitely created a lot of tension, and they definitely batted heads. Everyone knows that. I don't think anyone's debating that. So, but I just think he was kind of put in an unfair spot, and I think it will be better. I think Jim Knowles leaving and us getting Matt Patricia is almost. I think it's going to be an upgrade. I genuinely do think that, because I think we're going to get a lot more pressure, and I think this year's team is going to strive off a lot more pressure because we can't just sit back in coverage with a bunch of these younger guys this year. We have too many athletes with we can talk about this too. CJ Hicks officially moving to the end. I know that's been talked about for months now. When we've talked about it, we pretty much both agreed that it was going to happen. So it's good to see that Larry Johnson confirmed that. And I think that really explains a lot why we didn't get that Georgia guy then with the Missouri, why we didn't really want to pay a little extra, because I don't think the coaches think we have a big hole at defensive end. I genuinely don't think they do, because now we have Kenyatta Jackson, Caden Curry, CJ Hicks. Am I missing anyone?
As far as defensive end?
Yeah.
We got the young guys, but we got the young guys who came in this past year as a freshman, but you know, like Grady, and I don't know.
They'll be bigger impacts next year. But our line in next year is going to be absolutely insane with Edric Houston coming back for a junior year. But that's for another story. But this year when we have Edric Houston, Kenyatta Jackson, Caden Curry, CJ Hicks. Who is our second defensive tackle this year? Why am I screwing that up?
You said second defensive tackle? Yeah.
Oh, so you got Caden McDonald. Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Probably maybe the best player on the defensive line. My apologies. Then George, the transfer out of Idaho State. There's a lot of talent, and a lot of people can get to the passer. Like Kenyon Jackson got to the passer a lot. His run defense was really struggling. But Logan George was one of the best run defenders in the nation last year. I think he led the FCS in tackles for loss, at least from the defensive end position. He had something insane amount of tackles for loss. It was an absurd number, if I remember correctly. And then obviously those big guys in the middle. I mean, our defensive tackles this year are going to be, the best in the nation. I would have a hard time finding
Houston
a
and
better
McDonald,
one.
that's a heck of a starting duo.
Mm-hmm. So that's 6 guys right there that I'd feel comfortable playing. And that's without any of these off-season breakout guys or any of these freshmen that really step up, or even a guy we might get in the spring portal, because we're definitely going to be active in the spring portal. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, that's a quote. That's from Ryan. That's a quote from Ryan Day. That's not. I wouldn't even say it's a source or anything that I have or who I've talked to. That's literally from Ryan Day's interview. He talked about how the spring portal is going to be vitally important.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. And just real quick about CJ Hicks, I know some people are concerned about his weight. Like the comp, I guess, in a perfect world is to use him like a Micah Parsons. I know Micah Parsons, he was kind of a hybrid. He was all over the place, but they used him a lot of times going after the quarterback. And he was 245 at Penn State. Right now, CJ Hicks, at least the latest on the site, is he's 233. That's not far off. But he clearly has a talent for, getting, his speed, athleticism, getting to the quarterback. We've seen him do it. And so I'm excited about Matt Patricia specifically, who, if anybody, you could pick anybody to scheme up a personnel piece like that to really thrive with their skill set, it's him. And so, yeah, bro, CJ, the move for CJ Hicks to that position, to me, people could say it's long overdue. That's fine, maybe. But he came in here as a linebacker, didn't really work out. I think partially that was just on him not picking things up. Maybe you can blame coaches. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, I think he's going to be extremely effective in this role with Matt Patricia being able to put him in the best position to succeed. Real quick, Mike Green, what up? B Mo, scum going down. No Diddy. No Diddy and no baby oil. Yeah, or nothing like that. Just straight up, flat out. I agree. What's up, brother? Appreciate you as always. Thanks for the $1.99 and Buckingham Nuts. Thanks for the $10. Did y'all see the NCAA dashboard briefly update showing that the COI had already started but changed back? Is it possible that the enforcement didn't use the full 60 days to reply and this is farther along? Funky, I think you addressed that kind of indirectly earlier, but any thoughts on this? Because you've been on the dashboard more than I have.
My one thought on it is I saw someone say that, but I haven't seen a screenshot of it. I haven't seen it even happen. If you're still listening, if you want to put in the comments, like, do you have a screenshot of it? If you do, email it to buckeyescoop@gmail.com, because I'm on social media way too many hours of the day, and I feel like don't really miss a lot of stuff, but I do miss some stuff. So if you got a screenshot of that, or someone who has a screenshot of it, please get me in contact with it, or just send it to the X account, send it to the email, send it to Kirk, send it to Nevada, post it on the board if you're on the board. But if you have any of that, if you have a screenshot of it, I would love to see what they actually posted. But everything you say is something that I've heard. I mean, again, I don't think they took the full 60 days to respond. I mean, I know I'm 99% sure they didn't. So, and I'm 100% sure that they have a punishment ready for someone already that they're ready to hand down. But I just don't know what the logistics are behind that. Like, do they announce it all at once? Do they announce it as it goes on? Are they waiting to publicly announce it? Or is it I just don't know, to be honest with you. So, but I would love if you have someone or see. I've not seen an update from the dashboard, but I did see someone bring that up to me, and I asked them for a screenshot, and they said no. So I'm not sure if that's just like a rumor being spread, or if it's actually like that did happen. Yeah.
Yep. Either way, shoot it to us. And just real quick, y'all, just to remind y'all, Buckeye Scoop, you're fake sources. You're just making stuff up. There's a dashboard, y'all. Like, yes, Nevada Buck has sources. Spiro has sources. But there's sources involved here. But there's also public, accessible information. You can go to the NCAA website and see the dashboard we're talking about. Like, this is not just something we just making up for clicks. It's happening. Just want to remind y'all, okay? So there's that. And real quick, Dev, yes, it is do or die for Jason Moore and Tywone Malone. I don't know how you feel because you asked the question. I was gonna say I agree. But yes, and Larry Johnson talked about specifically Jason Moore. He told him, like, yo, this is it. Like, let's get it. He didn't say this is do or die, but he said this is your year. Like, you need to step up. And for those who don't remember Jason Moore, he is a freak. I mean, he is all world, all bus, what is it called? All airport. He's the guy, he's the first guy of the bus. I mean, he's like 6'6", 285 or 90. I mean, chiseled. He just looks crazy. So we need him to come in there and really wreck shop and provide some quality depth. Of course, along with Tywone Malone, who's more of a 3-tech. I would say follow the Tyleik Williams mode as far as Tywone Malone, as far as that's his trajectory, hopefully. So both talented guys, but it's time to step up and provide some depth. But like Funky said, and more importantly, Ryan Day said, we're going to be hitting that portal up for a D-line. He said the other day that's the number one position they're concerned about as far as depth. And so they're going to get the right guys in here in the portal. And I'm excited about that too. Because we really couldn't hit the portal like that because we was on the championship run. And Ryan Day's been complaining about that. Like, hey, we got to look at this because this ain't working for the winners. This ain't fair, which he's correct. So that's going to be very interesting to see the spring portal.
Yeah, and that's the only position that I would be even slightly concerned about. Even though I don't have that many concerns, but like at least at depth, maybe I have a little bit concerns. But if you look at, and we can just go through it right now quickly. Quarterback, no concerns. Running back, no concerns anymore with James Peoples and C.J. Donaldson and Bo Jackson because freshmen can start too, and it's running back, so
Yeah.
that'll be fine. And then we return Samuel Williams Dixon, Sam Williams Dixon, and he showed some. He's played before, so that's always good because at least we got someone who's played before and actually have scored touchdowns before. So, then tight end, we're gonna have the best tight end room in the nation. Not even, Max Clare could be a first round pick, so I'll leave it at that. Wide receivers, we don't even talk about that. Cornerbacks, the talent we have in the cornerback room, is absurd. And returning Iggy, if we didn't return Iggy, I'd be a lot more worried. But now we have, Iggy and Devin Sanchez, oh my gosh, Iggy and Jermaine Matthews are proven NFL players, and then we have Devin Sanchez and Aaron Scott, Bryce West. Yeah. So that'll be fine. And then safeties, you have Caleb Downs and oh my gosh, I'm blanking on that name. But he's real good player. I forgot his name.
Either Jaden McClain or
Jaden McClain. No, it's Jaden McClain.
Or is Jaden McClain? Okay, yeah, because I like him a lot. And then of course there's Malik Hartford, whose possibility. That's going to be interesting, that other safety spot, to see if we actually get somebody in the portal. If the right fit pops up, or if one of those guys just emerge. But we got some talent there to plug in for sure.
No, but I think McClain will play. McClain was ready to play. The only reason why McClain didn't really play much last year is because a man named Caleb Downs wanted to come here. So if Caleb Downs comes here, then that's a little different. But obviously, that's all going to change. If we can get a Caleb Downs in the portal, then none of these positions are safe. That's just the facts and reality. None of these positions are safe. And you look at linebacker, you're returning Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese, who are, we saw Arvell. He looked like one of the best linebackers in the nation. Or, sorry, now I'm overestimating. But he looked like a really competent. He looked way better than
best freshman.
Yeah, one of the best freshmen in the nation for sure. And that's an elite linebacker room. I have no doubt about that. Plus, we have Coach Laurinaitis out there, so I'm sure them boys are gonna be ready. Yeah,
he's always impressive too, man. And on a side note, in interviews, I'm so happy Laurinaitis is here, man. It's just always dope to hear him talk and share his experience in the league at Ohio State. It's just dope to have him here, man. So let's not overlook that as well. But yeah, listen, we are still very, very blessed as a fan base. We got so much talent. And to your point, Sharice, yeah, we've had to reload many times before. This is a lot, but we've had some similar, situations, but we got talent like crazy, and we got great coaches. And so if we can, basically hold down the fort and get these dubs and, early in the season, this team is going to be right there to compete for another title down the stretch as they get more experience and get in jail. If we get in the tournament again, if we get in the playoffs, we're going to have just as good as a chance to win again as anybody else. I'm telling you, with this talent that we have.
No, exactly. There's never been a better time to replace talent too, with this 12-team playoffs. Because
Yep.
if it was to be serious with you, if this was 14 playoffs, I'd be going into this year thinking, yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah, it's just probably not going to happen. We have to go versus one of the best Penn State teams of all time, versus Texas, and in Ann Arbor, at Washington, at Illinois. I'm like, yeah, we probably lose 2 games, and we probably don't make the playoffs. So, but with a 12-team playoffs, we saw you could lose 2 games and easily be in the playoffs. With the schedule we have, we can lose 3 games and be in the playoffs. So there's never been a better time to have an experience, And if we lose to Texas, I just don't think that's going to be weighted at all by week 13 or by week 12, or week 13 technically because of the playoffs. So, or the conference championship game. So, I really don't even there's never been a better time to have an inexperienced team and playing a really hard team week 1, and at least it's a home game. We'll have to play at Texas next year, but at least Julian Sane will be a junior. Julian Sane's going to be a junior, and Jeremiah Smith's going to be a junior, and that's going to be crazy. Gosh, I'm going to have to I'm going to have to get there. I have to be at that game. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to Columbus. Yeah, I'm going. I don't think I can make it to Columbus this year for the game, which sucks. But I'm going to be in Ann Arbor 100%. So.
Matter of fact, you know what? Let me holler at the wife tonight and say, hey, let's plan a trip to Austin next year. Because I've never been to Texas. That's one
around
place I
August 30th.
Real quick, Buckingham Nut said, don't have a screenshot, but saw someone post a screen grab on 11 Warriors. All right, I'm gonna be looking into that too, Buckingham.
What's a screen grab? Is that a screenshot?
Screenshot, yeah. I think that's what that is. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep my eyes on that phone. If I can find it, I'm gonna obviously send it to you. But we'll be digging, man. We'll see. I appreciate that, Buckingham. So anyway, but yeah, I know we are coming to an end here with Kirk and Nevada about to come up soon. Fun show today, great show. It's so dope to have all of you good people here. Rocking with us in the off season. A lot of schools, wouldn't have much to talk about in the off season, but we always got content, man. We always got something to talk about. And the spring game is coming up quick. The spring showcase, whatever that's going to be, is coming up quick. And again, I'm curious to see how we handle that. And if we keep some type of tradition of just having the fans come together. I hope they do. I'm not so pressed about the tradition of the spring game staying the same as much as, allowing Buckeye Nation to come together in the spring and, and support the team. And for the players to get some experience in front of a big crowd, and because Ryan Day said that was important, and I'm sure other coaches agree. So anyway, but spring coming up, so we'll have a lot to talk about. Some insider information I'm sure will come forth with who's doing what in the spring practices and who's emerging. And again, if you have not joined BuckeyeScoop.com, make sure you do that. Excellent information, several insiders, several just great contributors. Me and Funky are on the board consistently, giving our thoughts, and whatnot. And it's a great time. So I highly recommend it. Any last words?
Yes, I have a few last words, so just bear with me for a second here.
Absolutely.
I want to congratulate the Righteous Brothers, Michigan State family, winning the Big Ten, beating that team up north twice in basketball this week. And thank you for that team up north for having one of the biggest collapses I've ever seen in college basketball history. It made my week. Watch that, after winning a natty, I never actually really cared about Ohio State basketball, to be serious. I care a little bit, but I'd rather win the national championship one time than win a college national championship 5 times. That's just my opinion. Might be a hot take, whatever. Doesn't matter. But congrats to Michigan State. That was great. Loved watching him. Glad I'll definitely cheer them on in the tournament. And I think that they're the definitely the best chance for a non-Duke or non-SEC team to win the championship this year. So merch is coming up, so that'll be interesting. I want to shout out Dagestan Poppy for the big win yesterday in the main event. Big winners. Gave out. He won over $10,000 on that bet. So congrats to him, and congrats to everyone else who followed him. That was a pretty decisive win. It was a great fight, but in my opinion, just great bet by him, and just great to watch. I got to cash in with him. Hopefully, a lot of you as well. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. It's always great, especially in the off season. But every time we have a show, that means we're one show closer to uh, right football. So
Great point.
it's a
Yeah.
great point. And yeah, just thanks for tuning in. It was a great show. Shout out Steely Matt, South Bay SoCal man, and yeah, shout out everyone else watching. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, great show.
Yep. And one last thing, one very last thing. Still working on the logistics of getting the "You Know What Time It Is" video shot. Dealing with a bunch of different parties and moving pieces is challenging, but the goal is to try to get it out by the spring game, or at least the week of the spring game. I think that'll be dope, to drop it either the week of the spring game or on the spring game day. Either way, we're still working on it, but just trying to get things done. And I cannot wait. But listen, man, love y'all. Appreciate y'all. And then, prayers to Ali, Barb Barrett. I saw the chat. I was trying to get back to it. Prayers, and I hope everything gets better with that. And we will see y'all next Sunday. Appreciate y'all, Buckeye Scoop family. Get ready for Kirk and Nevada in a few minutes. All right. Peace.
Peace.